Hello and welcome to the Catholic Messenger Conversations podcast. My name is Dan Russo, editor of the Catholic Messenger. I'm here with Lindsay Steele, diocesan reporter.
Hello.
And our guest this month is Anne Schwickerath of Project Renewal. It's a local charity that's been doing a lot of good work in the community for over 50 years. It is Ash Wednesday, so the theme of today's show is Lent, specifically the pillar of Lent of almsgiving. So we decided we're going to highlight a worthy charity today. Before we get started with the interview and some of the background, I have to thank our sponsor today. We're sponsored by Religious Supply Center, featuring church supplies, gifts, cards, and memories, located at 1301 Jersey Ridge Road in Davenport. You can reach them at 563-324-0669. More information is at religioussupply.com. So we're doing a series in the Messenger about the symbols, signs, and pillars of Lent. Lindsay, you did a little bit of research to try to talk to our listeners about why it's important to give alms and do other things during this season. So,
it is Ash Wednesday, and I don't know about you, it feels like it's been a very busy day so far. I haven't even had time to get my ashes yet. I don't think you have either.
No.
But on the Catholic Messenger front page, Dan, Anne-Marie, Almker, and I are in the midst of a series on Lenten teachings and traditions. Last week, Dan took a deep dive into Ash Wednesday, which, though not a holy day of obligation, is among the most popular and iconic Catholic traditions for Catholics in our diocese and around the world. Dan learned that most of the parishes in our diocese use store-bought ashes, not just for convenience, but because of the challenges of creating ashes, though there are some brave parishes that make palm burning an annual tradition. I thought it was an interesting read. Dan, what did you find most interesting as you were talking to people for your story?
Well, I think one thing is most of the ashes that we use around this area come from Texas. I did not know that. The palm trees are grown in Texas and then they're burned by a professional company. But I also talked to a priest who throughout his entire ministry would make his own ashes wherever he went, whatever parish he was at, he made his own. But there was a learning curve. It's not an easy thing. There's an art to it. So there were some mishaps, like, for example, ashes blowing away in the wind while they're burning it in front of the church, or the ashes would not stick to people's foreheads, things like that. So if you really want to make good ashes, you got to read the story, and don't try it before you get the feedback from this priest. So
yeah, and then this week's story, Anne-Marie explored the look of Lent, like why priests wear red violet vestments, the rules about covering or not covering various statues, why altar flowers are forbidden, and then next week will be my story on the history of fasting and the various traditions in our diocese regarding fasting and abstinence. I don't know about you, but I'm having a lot of fun learning things about Lent that I didn't know.
Sure, yeah. It's been a good run so far.
Yeah. And another big story is our diocese response to the priest shortage. Last month, I attended a workshop in Iowa City about building a culture of vocations, which essentially means that everyone has a responsibility to help young men and women recognize and feel comfortable pursuing a calling to priesthood or religious life. At the end of February, that'll be next week, priests in our diocese will encourage the faithful to consider who in their parish they believe might make a good priest or religious sister. They call the initiative Called by Name, which in a literal sense makes a lot of sense. Parishioners will write that person's name on a form and submit it to their parish, and then that information will be forwarded on to the Office of Vocations, who will then send no-pressure invitations to one of two upcoming vocations events. And as far as vocations is concerned, Father Andrew Rauenbuehler, who heads the vocations office in addition to serving as pastor of St. Mary Parish in Iowa City, is really optimistic about how things are going right now. As I reported in my story a couple weeks ago, the number of seminarians went from 5 to 9 this year. And there are a lot of young men of varying ages, mostly under the age of 30, who have expressed interest in discerning a vocation to the priesthood. The diocese is actively working to help these men feel supported in their discernment by hosting regular events for them to gather socially while learning more about what priesthood might look like. That way they don't feel weird or alone, in Father Rauenbuehler's words. We'll be able to hear more from him in May, I believe, when he will serve as a guest on our podcast. And yeah, that should be a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it. I could go on, but then we wouldn't have time to talk to Anne for this month's podcast. So I'll go ahead and send it back to you guys.
Okay, Anne. Well, thanks for coming in, especially on short notice. Can you start just by telling me a little bit about what your charity does?
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it and appreciate the opportunity. Project Renewal is a local grassroots organization in Davenport, started by a Catholic nun and a priest who helped her get started back in the 1970s. So right now, currently, we have after-school and summer programming for children and giving them opportunities and experiences that they otherwise might not have, a safe place to be, and positive role models. So every day after school, kids in all grades, K through 12, can come, get help with homework, have a snack or a treat, as they're called, treats, and recreational activities and life skills and a variety of things. There's one of the unique things about us is just that we serve kids in all grades, K through 12. There's a lot of great youth programs and organizations and reasons why it's just for certain grade levels, but our approach is unique and it's helpful for families too. So a whole family can come, all your kids, if that's what is wanted and needed. Another unique thing about us is that there's no fee ever for any of our services, whether it's the tutoring, swimming lessons, field trips, food, things we do, no charge to any of our families. And then a third unique thing about us is our location. We operate out of a neighborhood that is often underserved and overlooked and not a lot of investment in the basics.
So, and I know that you have paid staff like yourself, but you also rely on volunteers.
Yes.
What do your volunteers do, and are you looking for people to do that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Our whole foundation was based on volunteers. The first 18 years of Project Renewal's existence was run by volunteers. So Sister Concetta Bendicente grew up in an orphanage in Chicago and then went on to become a nun with the Poor Handmaids of Jesus Christ and served in that orphanage. But along the way, Father Mottet, who was head of the Social Action Department at the Diocese of Davenport at that time, was looking for someone to do outreach in the counties of the diocese. And someone said, "Oh, I know just the person for you." And so he met Sister Concetta. She was happy to come and did so. So she found on her many walks through downtown Davenport and through our neighborhood, needs going unmet, and would see the church steeples in the distance and wonder, where is the presence of Christ when I'm finding and encountering all these social concerns that are not being addressed. And so she asked Father Mottet, "Hey, could you find some money for us to buy this property?" And so there was a condemned house on the corner of 5th and Warren that, with the help of her community, they purchased and fixed up the best they could and started living in it to be a good neighbor and a positive presence. And mind you, back then in the early 1970s, there weren't all the great social services we have today. So a little bit of everything was being addressed. And so over the years, as other organizations developed to address these areas, Project Renewal directed its focus then to the youth programming.
And that ties into the theme of the show with almsgiving. So you've got people giving their time, and then there's also a connection, Lindsay, you've told me about the connection to Rice Bowl, which gives other material assistance. Can you?
Right. So the Rice Bowl connection, the Rice Bowl collection, it does connect people, but yes, the Rice Bowl collection actually starts today, and most people are familiar with it because you get those little boxes that you can go around and ask people to put some change in it, or you can put some change in it yourself. It's a program that is intended to ease hunger both locally, with 25% of collection staying local and then 75% going worldwide. And Project Renewal has been a beneficiary of that for a long time because you have, I don't know if you still have the snack house.
Yeah, the treat house.
The treat house, yeah. But what the Rice Bowl funds do for them is that it helps pay for some of the snacks and different food items that the kids that come to your programs eat, because it's hard to study on an empty belly. So
definitely,
yeah.
And so we've talked about the volunteers, and one thing that's really unique is that even to this day, they stay pretty close to the community. I mean, do you still have people that live there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the volunteers still live.
Myself and another person have been living there year round for over 30 years. And now we have 2 more staff. We just recently and still are going through an expansion project. So part of that is expanding our physical footprint and spaces for kids to be in, expanding our staffing, and then expanding opportunities and experiences. And with that, we need volunteers to help support, our after school, helping with academics, but also it doesn't have to be that. If you don't want to do reading or math with the kids, you can come and bake cookies or color or, play football, whatever it is that you might want to share your time doing or talents. That is always something that can happen. And of course, the financial support is needed as well. It's hard to make a living as a volunteer. So we need a little bit of everything. And that was also some of the guidance and direction Father Mottet had developed back then on the corner. Actually, I was told, and he was told, and there's actual photographs, I think, of him on the corner of 5th and Warren where he introduced or talked about the 2 feet of social justice.
Mm-hmm. Now, so what are some of the challenges that these young people are facing? I know that maybe they need a place to go after school, maybe because their parents have to work, or maybe
Absolutely.
they're not
Yep.
present for other reasons. What else do you see that are the challenges that you're helping them overcome? What are they facing?
Mm-hmm. Relationship building, friendship building, as you might hear in the community schools, attendance, and that is difficult, whether you have 1 or 2 parents who are working 1 or 2 jobs or working and going to school, or maybe sometimes they're not doing either, which is very rare, but may not have the mental capacity to do it all. That's for anybody can be overwhelming when you have children and going through stages of development. So we're there to walk that walk with them and give them that support. While we might and do focus directly on children, it's often through that relationship as we get to know parents and their wider family that we can also refer them to other resources and help them knock on that door, pick up the phone and make a call, because it's hard to do that when you're alone. Or if that wasn't something in your family you grew up doing, you don't know how to get started.
So I was able to visit the construction site. You're building a new building down there. Can you talk a little bit about the new building and what it's going to do once it's done? You said it's almost done.
Well, as I mentioned, we finished, we're in an expansion project, but in 2021, we finished our strategic plan update, which the overwhelming results from all the feedback of our focus groups were, keep doing what you're doing. It's too bad you didn't have more space to do it in how you do it. And so here we are. Recently I've been hearing Father Mottet's voice in my head saying, get to work. And I feel like we've been doing that, obviously, all these years, but it's especially now reaffirming when I'm like, yep, we're doing it, and we'll continue. So it's 3 phases, our expansion plan. We finished 1 building last year. Let's see. Early 2025. We purchased a new property, and with the mindset of repurposing it for our program needs. It was too far gone. We had to tear it down. We built new. And then the second phase was to update the treat house, which is across the street at 510 Warren Street. And once we got into looking and preparing for that design and work, it was found the foundation was buckling and not supporting the framing anymore, which was compromising many things. So through lots of things, decision-making resulted in tearing that house down as well and building new. So that's our second new building in 2 years. And we're about to complete it. Yeah, we're just waiting for final inspection and moving in soon. And then, so that house will be our academic center, where the hub of all our programming, where everyone will check in and out every day. Our program office is there, or will be there, where we pass out treats. And then the first new building, our new property we purchased a few years ago, is are where our extracurriculars will be. There's 2 floors. The first floor is all for programming space, some of the new programs and an expansion on programming, actually, introducing health and wellness or continuing, but doing more in physical fitness, dance, yoga, the arts, music, cooking, nutrition. Those things will happen in that space, so it's not disruptive in the academics area. And then the second floor of the first new building is 2 apartments, one occupied right now by staff who want to work at Project Renewal and live in the neighborhood while they do that, continuing Sister Concetta's vision. The second apartment is being occupied by our program because we need that for our academic space now, so we're not trying to read and do math and write next to everybody, playing games and dancing and cooking. But once that's, we move back into our second house, we'll be able to use that for living space also. So we're reinvesting, renewing in the neighborhood, physically, financially, and spiritually.
So,
and yeah, I remember, I think you mentioned it in your story, Dan, that the people that go through your program, a lot of times they will then come back and volunteer in some way. Can you tell me a little bit about that sort of full circle aspect about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's part of something we teach in program, kids giving back, whether we're making treats to go take to a shelter or our high school component cohort have an annual, for sure, date at Cafe on Vine in our neighborhood to go give back and serve. During the summer, our kids, mostly middle schoolers or upper elementary, for, probably 15 years, we've been volunteering at the Bix at 6. So it's important to us to get our kids out in the community for many reasons, but to learn of opportunities to advance themselves, but also to relate to others and give back to others. So we've had kids come back, if they went on to college, come back over their spring break or winter break and volunteer in the program, or if they're involved in we're a place of employment now, and they say, hey, I grew up in this program, let's go here for our staff service day, and they've come back in those ways. But also some of our kids, if not all, I guess, but ones that keep in touch with us are the leaders in our community at manufacturers, businesses, health institutions, academic areas, libraries. So we are creating leaders and people, community members that are productive in our society.
So you went out of your comfort zone. I mean, there's an urban setting there where maybe there's some issues with, crime or basic necessities, and you went down there and really dedicated yourself to helping the children make the most of their lives despite the challenges. Can you talk about your motivations for doing that and maybe even your spiritual background? Does that help motivate you? Because it's not easy work that you do, I would imagine, and there's a lot of serious issues in those communities that you're trying to help combat.
Yeah. Well, first of all, grew up in a family where that was important. My parents teaching us to give back to our community. And then when I went to University of Iowa and graduated, I was active at the Catholic Newman Center there and was afforded opportunities for service there as well. And a friend I met there who is from Bluegrass introduced me to Project Renewal. He'd recruit his friends to come volunteer at Project Renewal in the summer. So I did that a couple summers during my undergraduate years and loved it. And then my friend and I were both graduating one spring, and he was headed to Washington, D.C., which he did go and never came back. And he said, well, why don't you come do this for the summer? Because my plans after graduation didn't start till fall. So I came to work here for the summer and never left, and I'll be 33 years this year. Wow. It's a long summer.
Yeah. But it seems like you love what you do, and you continue to have the motivation and energy to keep going.
Yep, it's so rewarding, very rewarding.
Now, you Can you tell me, you told me a little bit about a reading challenge that you're doing with the kids right now, and then a physical education challenge. Can you talk about what's coming up for your charity?
Yep. So a few years ago, this is our 4th year, I believe, we started a reading challenge during the month of February. Usually February, we're stuck indoors more than other times, except this February.
That's beautiful.
Right? And so another way to motivate and encourage, so we propose this reading challenge for the kids or with the kids. Each child has their individual goal of how many pages they'll read each day. At the end of the week, we total them up, and then there's first, second, third place. And we make it equitable. So whether you're in kindergarten, 3rd grade, 6th grade, it's evens out. And so, and then at the end of 4 weeks, we total up all the pages read by the kids with a collective group goal of 5,000 pages. This year we made it 5,067 pages, which was exciting for many of us. And so that's our reading challenge. And that this year we were planning, as we were planning it, we thought, what a great way to share to other people and share opportunities to give back to Project Renewal. Along with our expansion project, expanding staffing and physical footprint increases our operational budget each year. So we need to expand our fundraising opportunities. So it's a fundraising opportunity. We want a way to introduce to people what we do, what we're about, and how important it is. So we have been keeping track, and the kids are reading their tails off. They are breaking records every week, which is very exciting for them. They're loving it. So
Wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
And so this physical education challenge too, that's open to
Yep.
the whole community?
Yes, and that's been and my times here, I also took classes at St. Ambrose after I'd been in Davenport for a few years. So I was fortunate to find a lot of my values and principles reiterated here through campus ministry and campus-wide. And so there's some staff and instructors that are on our committee. We developed FitFest, which is called short for Fitness Festival, a way to introduce movement, getting active, and positive recreational habits and hobbies to kids and adults. It's a very family-friendly atmosphere. The athletic department, various teams and campus groups help out by volunteering that day. It's an obstacle course with 10 obstacles on it. We set up on 6th Street. We block off the street. It's a loop, and you go through it, which is also unique, with a partner, which aligns with going through life. You often need a friend or a partner to help you through the good times and the hard times. We all have challenges, different seasons in life. And so our FitFest obstacle is to have that partner go through some of the challenges. It's single person, but each of you do it. And some of them you need a partner to volley that ball with or do the activity with. So yes, that's April 18th this year. We're actually having a planning meeting, one of them anyway, tomorrow here on campus for that. And that's also a fundraiser. All the proceeds go to support our summer youth program, which during the summer, we have a 9-week summer program, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., where we serve breakfast and lunch to kids. We sign up kids in swimming lessons every year. And each summer as they come back, they can advance then to the next level to become more proficient. We do tons of field trips, but we also continue that academic component throughout the summer. So kids are practicing math, reading, and writing every day in the summer. There's that happening. And data and results that we've been tracking have proven and we have some volunteers who are retired teachers or current teachers who help us track that data. And we are finding vast improvements in those 9 weeks, which really we're probably doing academics for about 7 weeks because the first and last week are a little more exciting and doing other things and games and outside stuff. But so in that time period, kids are increasing their reading scores from beginning of the summer to the end of the summer. And we're working with Davenport schools, and we're finding that their test results when they've gone back to school that new school year have increased. Some kids have even over the years gotten themselves off their IEPs for certain subjects because of the consistent work we do with them over the summer.
Well, we're coming up against the end of the show. So if people wanted to get in touch with you or volunteer or donate, what's the best way to do that?
You can call us 563-324-0800 or email Ann@projectrenewal.net, or you can find us on a website and get this information there too.
Okay.
Or Facebook page.
And we'll be sure to get some information about the upcoming Fit Fest in the Catholic Messenger in the coming weeks.
Awesome. That would be wonderful.
Well, we gotta close with again a nod to our sponsor, Religious Supply Inc. They sell church supplies, gift cards, and memories. They're located at 1301 Jersey Ridge Road in Davenport. You can reach them at 563-324-0669. And I'd like to thank KALA for helping us put this podcast together. And everybody, happy Ash Wednesday. See you next time.
Thank you.